Okay.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing great. I am absolutely nervous on this stage, but I'm going to try and do my best. So, today I want to leave you with a thought of how do we break the clutter when it comes to our branding campaigns. Um, while the thought is to break the clutter with great technology. So we all know how integral mobile phones are to our daily lives. We practically multitask on our mobile phones. I'm pretty sure that right now also in this room we are multitasking. Sending emails, sending text, and so on. So while great, we've acquired that skill, but our attention span is also decreasing parallelly. And in this noise, we expect our consumers to proactively click on our banners, to engage with it, and to spend that quality time with our creatives. But yeah, I'm likely to survive a plane crash and win a lottery, then get someone to click on my ad. So what do we do about that? There's definitely a challenge with marketers. So this is where I want to introduce mCanvas to you. mCanvas is an ad tech platform. We not only give you great creatives, disruptive technology, but also give you a platform of a massive reach of 300 million across our websites and apps with customized targeting for every brand communication. So I've put down some case studies for you guys to have a look. Let me start showing you a few examples of what I'm talking about. So this case study is for LG. Now, the brand objective of LG was to promote their refrigerators during the pandemic time. So their refrigerators are definitely keeping the food fresh for longer hours. Green is what they relate to freshness. And they wanted to build a campaign so engaging that they would display their product highlights in a very innovative fashion. So I'm going to show you what we did for LG, the treatment that we used. So yeah, the impact. In a short period of span, we reached out about 7.3 million users. We got a click-through rate of 3.2%. And average time spent on this particular creative was more than 8 seconds. We used the technology of color detection and augmented reality for this particular creative. Now, we all know how obsessed we are with our video campaigns. I mean, it's been happening since we are glued to the television. And here I want to show you a glimpse of this 80s ad that is very, very nostalgic to us. कुछ बात है हम सभी में बात है खास है कुछ स्वाद है I'm sure everyone remembers this ad. But do we know that there was an ad on the newspaper as well during the launch? Do we remember it? No, absolutely not. But now what we can do is we can capitalize that space with a video ad. So why settle for static when we can have a video between the editorial content and actually contextually target it too? But not only the video, what we can also do it, we can create an engagement with that video, we can have an interaction with that video. So I'm going to show you another example from a very challenging category, which is coin switch, Kuber, crypto category. So let's have a look on the treatment of this campaign.
ट्रेड करने के लिए कम से कम कितने पैसे चाहिए?
सिर्फ 100 रुपए में स्टार्ट कर सकते हो एंड टेक्स ओनली 5 मिनट्स। कॉइन स्विच कुबेर डाउनलोड करो और बिटकॉइन में ट्रेड करो। फास्ट, क्रेडिबल, फ्लेक्सिबल। ट्रेड कर बेफिक्र।
So, that was coin switch Kuber. A very simple video creative is turned into an interactive and engagement video. So what does R.I.S.E mean for mCanvas? What does it stand for? We are very responsible, transparent, and marketing as a platform. So when I say responsible, we are responsible with our pricing. We ensure we give you the dashboard access for you to timely have a look at how your campaign is faring. Inclusive in terms of including targeted. Like I mentioned, we are customized solution for every brand. So when I say targeting, obviously apart from geo demo, we have linguistic targeting, we have weather targeting, we have cricket-based targeting. And this is to name a few. Obviously, we can customize as per brand communication when we have the opportunity. Scalable, we have the massive reach of 300 million to scale any campaign with a CTR of over 2%, as I showed you in my first example as well. The average time spent on our creatives is more than 8 seconds, and it can go up to 15 seconds as well for some creatives which are highly engaging. And a VTR of 25% as an outstream format. The experiences that we use, augmented reality, virtual reality, interactivity, color detection, we can do smile detection, and 50 plus other sensors. These are just to name a few. And because it's from the interest of the time, I only had so much time to showcase 2 case studies. But yeah, if you can connect with me offline and give me a FaceTime, I would want to take you through relevant case studies pertaining to your own category, and also show you use cases and measurement, because we are really, really focused on how we can uplift the brand as well by our campaigns. So yeah, this is from the branding point of view from Affinity. I now will get Rishi, and he will obviously take you through the performance side of the angle.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? Yep. Okay, perfect. All right, so thank you so much for that, Shilpa. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to give an example, like 10 years ago when I was a brand manager, the problems I used to face was, the first problem was that, okay, you know what, I've come up with a damn good ad, and then I used to go to my wife and say that, do you remember my ad? Is there recall? Have you actually seen my ad? And essentially we're getting bombarded by that on the social media, and essentially we are seeing that again and again. So the top problems which we solved: CTRs, creative efficiency, time spent, recall, consideration, great set. Let's fast forward 10 years ahead. What happens is now, I mean, Shilpa gave you the example of how we can make the ads more engaging, but the question which I keep getting again and again, okay, Rishi, धंधे की बात कर लेते हैं. Performance क्या है? What is the outcome? Can you actually get me digital sales, right? So let me, and I want to just elaborate more on this point, right? Because the way this entire dimension has changed, right? So today, let me just elaborate another problem and let me just see if everybody relates to that, right? 90% of my budget, or actually 95% of my budget is on Google, Facebook, or let's say search and social. Rishi, can you help me identify channels outside of the standard search and social where two things, you not only give me scale, but also give me great performance? And more, this question, the reliance on these two platforms is becoming so much that at the end of the day, people are looking for innovations, right? And this is where I would like to introduce VV, all right? I'm just going to press it, perfect. So, yeah, I mean, the name is actually VV, so you know how M-Canvas is the branding arm, VV is essentially the performance arm, and just to elaborate, right, what is the philosophy of VV, right? What did we exactly do? So at the end of the day, we realized that today when you want scale, and essentially the way we are obsessed with mobile phones, why not just go and integrate with the mobile phone manufacturer itself? So that's exactly what we did, the concept of backward integration, where, except for the iPhone, I'm just highlighting that. So my boss is actually still standing in the US outside the iPhone office trying to get that sorted. But nonetheless, besides iPhone, every Android phone manufacturer, how to get an integration within each of them, that's where VV comes into the picture. So what we did at VV, integrated with all the mobile phone manufacturers, integrated with all the telcos, and what were these integrations? I mean, these are the questions which I keep getting often. So Rishi, great. You know, I mean, you got integrated with Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, you got all the brands on board. What are these integrations? And this is where the philosophy came in, right? The idea was to identify those touch points on the mobile phone where the intent of the customer is high. It's not about just showing a random ad, right? Like just swiping on the phone and just showing an ad, but essentially identifying the touch point where the intent is high. And this is where a lot of R&D, a lot of data was actually shared. 3 years of extensive tech development was done. And at the end of the day, these touch points were identified. Now, what are these touch points, right? So essentially, one of the beauty touch points was the browser. You know, I mean, all of us know how often do we access the Chrome browser? Like it's more than 25 to 30 times. The lock screen. How obsessed are we with the apps, the app stores? Is essentially those touch points where philosophy is very straightforward. The intent of the customer is very, very high. Now, I mean, of course, we are very limited on time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brand. It's one of the country's most favorite brand, Flipkart. And essentially the objective which was given to us was very clear. Rishi, I want scale. You know, I've got big billion days coming up. I mean, essentially I want massive scale. But at the end of the day, what the D2C brands or e-commerce brands really look for is, can you give me access to new users? Can you make sure the CAC of my new users is optimized as much as possible? So how did we actually make it happen for Flipkart? Perfect. So again, I mean, I keep getting a lot of these questions, right? That Rishi, I didn't even know these were ad points. And essentially, this is where the mobile phone manufacturer technology has gone to the next level, where we've been able to identify these touch points. Now, most importantly, in terms of impact, right? What I'm talking about. So, yeah, 200 million, great. You know, in terms of sales, of course, I'm not allowed to disclose Flipkart sales, but I'm going to disclose a very great number in the next slide. But at the end of the day, what we were able to do via this campaign in a duration of 2 months, 50% new users. I mean, that's the kind of scale which we're talking about month on month, which we're delivering for a brand like Flipkart. Are we doing it for the others? Absolutely. And this is applicable across categories. But yes, now let me just build on this, right? And this is where, you know, we are all consciously moving to this metric called digital sales, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we've all heard the terms of physical distribution, digital distribution, but essentially today, VV as a platform over the last 3 years, working with all the e-commerce players, working with all the D2C brands, working with all the fintech brands, today we are slated to deliver 2,000 crores worth of digital sales. I mean, that's the kind of scale which we are talking about, right? So yes, this was one aspect in terms of outcomes when you talk about performance. But yes, I just want to add a little bit more to it, right? I mean, at the end of the day today, so great, digital sales is a great outcome. Performance is super to look at it. But there's another thing, another phenomenon which is actually picking up very, very extensively amongst market, app installs. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all getting so obsessed with apps, right? I mean, at the end of the day, 10-minute delivery, 5-minute delivery, next day, like it's essentially the scale of apps is just booming. Now, how are we tapping into that, right? I mean, and I don't want to talk about like how we are like actually scaling up on apps, but on my next slide, I'm going to take another example. I'm not going to take short video example, or I'm not going to take short video apps or something like that. I'm going to take an example from the fintech space. So for example, this next brand is Upstocks, where the game plan was very clear. I mean, I'm competing with the angels, the angel broking, the angel ones. I'm competing with the Motilal Oswal. I'm competing with the biggest of the stock brokers. Rishi, how can you help me get scale? Not only can you help me get installs, but essentially, can you make sure the account opens, which you actually get? So people who actually install the app actually open an account. Furthermore, can you encourage the users to carry out a transaction? Dream come true for the marketeers, right? So at the end of the day, this is how we implemented it for Upstocks. Perfect. So I've got exactly 4 seconds. So yep, I mean, and this is where Shilpa elaborated on the point, and I would want to just stress on this very further, right? I mean, as an industry, where are we moving towards, or as a company, how do we build products? And this is where the philosophy of R.I.S.E comes in, right? Let me talk about responsible. Today, when we talk with brands, we are that transparent. When I speak to a brand like a Flipkart, I want to tell him where exactly your ad is running. Today, can you get access to your ad? That is the transparency kind of level which you're talking about, that level, inclusive. When I'm talking about targeting, interest-based segments, mobile phone segments, great. But essentially, can you help me identify the touch points, or essentially help me understand on the browser where the intent of the financial products is high? Can we go to those inherent layers of targeting? Is that possible? Absolutely. Scalable? Yes. Now, this is where I will leave it to everybody. Scale. I don't think more than mobile phones, anybody can give you scale. Today, we are sitting on 550 million smartphones. Tomorrow, it's going to be 700 million smartphones. Integrating with mobile phones is one of the ways to scale. Yes. Experiential. I mean, some of the ad formats which I actually showed you. So today, between you and me, when I actually talk to brands, they keep asking me, Rishi, I didn't even know that brand was a logo. That brand logo was an ad. I mean, that's the kind of experience. So as much as we want to bombard customers with ads, can we make it a great experience? And that's the philosophy how VV Canvas thinks about. But yep, we'll just skip this slide because you got time's up as well. But more importantly, integrating across all these partners and building this tech over the last 3 years has enabled us to get this access to massive scale. And yes, I mean, just to end it off, we would love to share more. I mean, this is just the start point, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we've got great amount of data, we've got great amount of case studies, we've got a booth right there. We'd love to take this conversation forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rishi, and thank you as well, Shilpa. I think some very, very interesting thoughts you've shared, and very passionately that you've shared. I'm sure everybody wants to connect with you, so you know where the Affinity booth is. Please go ahead and share your queries.
Thank you so much. You want to do that?
In case you have any questions, please raise your hands. We do have room for 1 to 2 questions. We have a question there. Let's get the mic for you.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, your co-speaker spoke about color detection and smile detection.
That's absolutely right.
Can you just elaborate more on how you did that in terms of that?
So today, so just to let you know, right? So at the end of the day, so just to give you some background, right? What we did at Canvas, the problem which we were solving was how do you make your ads more engaging? So at the end of the day, we had to build a tech behind it, right? So essentially, what we did when we created a tech lab, we essentially had integrations. So for example, what we do is with the camera, with the gyroscope. Today, we built the tech where we understand all these particular placements can detect changes on your face. So today, just to not only smile detection, we also have like integration with the weather APIs. We also have integration with the cricket scores. So the idea is how do you integrate the different parts of the mobile phone? So for example, it can be a camera which detects your phone, which detects your smile. It can also be a selfie in terms of that. So the idea is to use the technology within the camera to essentially detect all those things. But you know what? I mean, more than happy to elaborate more on the tech. I've got my product guys right here as well.
All right. Thank you so much. So with that, then let's call it a wrap to the session. And
Thank you so much.
as Rishi said, he'll be happy to connect with you offline as well.